When the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Isaiah Mobley with the 49th pick in the 2022 draft, the first thing that may have come to mind for many fans was that the franchise was just trying to pull a move straight out of the Milwaukee Bucks playbook on how to keep your young star happy by bringing in his brother. But if you are already familiar with the elder Mobley brothers' game, you are probably pretty dang happy with this selection. Theoretically, his style of play is perfect for that of a modern NBA big man, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is because he is starting to resemble a stretch big. After all, he spent 3 seasons at USC honing his skills all the while improving each step of the way, which culminated in a junior season stat line of 14.2 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.3 assists while shooting 44.5% from the field, which includes finishing 35.2% from three-point range. But even with that being the case, Mobley came into the league still very much a work in progress. It's mostly the reason why the Cavs elected to have him spend time with their G League affiliate, the Cleveland Charge, for most of this past season, and for good reason. According to a recent piece by Jackson Flickinger of Fear the Sword, when asked about his experience last July, Mobley was very candid, stating, "I just didn't know how the game worked. It's just a different game. There's a lot more space." And that, my friends, is the truth, especially for players like Isaiah, who don't necessarily possess elite athleticism like many in the modern NBA do. There is an adjustment period, and while adjusting to the way NBA ball is played, Mobley has apparently decided to pattern his game after former teammate Kevin Love, another 6'8 big who wasn't gifted with elite athleticism. Flickinger detailed how Mobley picked up what he calls Love's cheat codes to the game. Whether it be how Love sets his feet for triples, his playmaking and positioning as a rebounder, to initiating contact, and more. All of these little things he has internalized by observing his surroundings has allowed him to become more of a threat out on the perimeter to space the floor. This is what could end up eventually getting him his first real shot at rotation spot for the Cavs. And when you can space the floor, defenders have to respect you enough to pay attention and close out on you. When this happens, you can attack said closeout by attacking your defender downhill, and Mobley is quite adept at doing this already. It's where he has managed to hurt opposing defenses most, drawing about 6 foul calls per game and finishing 61.9% of his shots from 5 feet and in. He now has a pretty solid feel and touch around the basket and has gone from leaning primarily on his right to being comfortable enough to now use his left hand as well. You can tell that all that time spent around Love and with the Charge has also empowered him to become more comfortable operating with the ball in his hands in an effort to make plays for others. The vision that he displays could end up being a very good asset. Defensively, he is still a work in progress as he attempts to adjust to having to learn how to switch out onto the perimeter more than ever in a switch-heavy league. And admittedly, he is not as naturally gifted a defender as his brother, but he can hold his own. It all comes down to more reps. All the time with the Charge did him well. While down there, he lit it up, securing averages of 21 points, 8.6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1.2 blocks per game, with shooting splits of 51.7, 35.3, and 73%. Pretty darn good. And that stellar play has apparently carried over to this year's Summer League, as Mobley has done a little bit of everything on the court on his way to averages of 14 points, 8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 1.3 blocks while completing 40% of his total field goal attempts. Now, my 2 biggest gripes at the moment only lie with his free throw percentage, which currently stands at 62.9% as of recording, and his 18.2% three-point percentage. And to be honest, I'm not totally worried about either. While he may be shooting under 63% from the charity stripe, the fact that he is drawing 8.8 free throw attempts per game, which is currently tied for 4th in Summer League, makes me feel pretty darn good. The 3-point percentage is really low, but given the Summer League environment he's playing in, and the fact that he is only attempting 2.8 per game up to this point, I'm not going to say that he's regressed or isn't improving in this regard. It's just the threat of spacing and making defenses have to respect him that truly matter, and these foul calls that he has drawn has been the biggest indicator of that. Summer League is an environment that can shed some light on a player's development, but it isn't all telling. Therefore, we must take everything we see with a massive grain of salt. In order to really evaluate whether or not he is ready for NBA level ball, we must see him against NBA caliber competition. Mobley is signed to a 2-way contract with the Cavs, and I am very curious to see what they decide to do with him. Will they end up converting him eventually like Dean Wade and Lamar Stevens before him to free up that 2-way spot? Will he end up spending the majority of this season with the G League again? Time will tell, but if he continues to show out like this, he could be on his way to establishing himself as a rotation player for this very talented Cavaliers team. That's going to do it for this one, folks, and if you are new to the channel and want to see more Cavs coverage, consider subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Go Cavs.